Welcome back, everyone, to the weekly forecast for the week of March 10th. Now, this week's tarot reading is different than what I had channeled for the blog. Well, it's rather an extension of what I wrote for my blog, so check that out as well because it's going to give you more reference. What's coming through here is some kind of either soul tie reunion or some kind of meeting of the minds, whether that be telepathically, because that can be telepathically for some of you guys, or something you experience on a soul level, maybe not in your real life, but it can always, anything that you experience telepathically, spiritually in your channel, you can see these things in the way that you interact with random people, random strangers. So think about soul reunions as that as well, especially for those of you who are moving right along on your spiritual journey. Know that there's a lot of ways that the universe can put you in contact with people who, in souls, who you might have known at a different time in space. Regardless, it feels like we're having a massive awakening here in the feminine collective, and there's like this awakening around our relationships specifically that's coming through. And now I wrote about this in my blog in terms of almost trading spaces, almost, tables turning and taking on positions that you might used to have been under in some form, at least within your disposition. Think of it like that. Again, go check out my blog for more information on that. But in terms of the events of this week, I feel a lot of fear and the root, the masculine side of the root, the right side of my root, alone. And in and out comes this pulling on my solar plexus, my confidence, my ability to move forward, pressure on the chest, a threat, and fogginess in the third eye perception being blurred. So sit with that because it feels like there's something that the universe wants to reveal to you about what is actually going on, especially when it comes to your emotions, that has to do with your relationships, that has to do with the dynamics within relationships. So it's like the universe is going to reveal you to you something, but at first it's going to be extremely emotionally challenging. Why? Because it feels like it's something that's been hidden for a very long time. That's where I hear a lot of masculine energies backing off is what I'm getting. Now this is in the spirit realm, so again, as above, so below. It might take some time for this to trickle down into reality for you. But it just feels like there's an energy that is starting to get caught up in its own games. Almost like the game is being played on itself. So I feel like there's a masculine collective going through a dark night of the soul and some kind of spiritual psychosis right now. And a feminine collective awakening to the reality of that masculine collective's emotions, true feelings for them, or lack thereof. It just feels like if there were lies in a relationship before, they may or may not be coming out here insidiously. And I think it all comes from this survival mentality that is kind of creeping into the collective here. We have a win-win outcome as forecast. You and your loved ones are safe and a romantic cycle begins. A new romantic cycle begins. So I just want to start with that before we go any further, because this is not meant to scare you. This is actually just, are you awake? Are you awake to what is happening? Because waking up to it can be startling. And some of you guys have been like, yeah, I'm awake, but then there's going to be more to the story. And that can confuse you. That can cause this shift in emotions if you're not watching closely enough to how the outside energies are clashing with your own. It can cause a level of disturbance mentally, energetically, in your insight, in your third eye. So be aware of that, because some of you guys are supposed to get some kind of victory this week. And I did discuss this on the blog. You're supposed to get some kind of victory this week when it comes to work. Work, manifestations, things that you have been putting in the time and effort on, but it's not going to come without some challenges. That's where I feel pushback in the throat chakra, pushback in the solar plexus. And this feels like it's coming, it's almost kind of like this energy pushing towards you as you become more and more victorious in your manifestations, in your work endeavors. You move forward, something wants to push you back. So again, what is this here? And again, some of you guys are going to start to realize this has to do with some kind of restriction in some kind of connection here, by kind of being confronted with it on a new level, or in a new person. Something it feels like coming back around here. And then the Two of Swords, again, there's something about this that you're going to have to mind over matter. You're going to have to kind of see through this. And again, I talked about this on the blog, as the feminine collective being represented by the Empress card and the King of Swords. You're going to have to mind over matter this, but you're going to have to do so in a very feminine way. Your feminine energy is so important here, okay? I pulled the astrology dice for this week and I got Taurus. Of all signs right now, that is not one that is super present in the astrology right now. Taurus, 7th house, relationships and partnerships, and the sun as the planet. So what I'm getting here is some kind of illumination and masculine energy here when it comes to our partnerships and relationships with masculine energies, and Taurus being ruled by Venus energy, but in its bullish sense, because Libra's also ruled by Venus, but Taurus is more headstrong. It's a bit sturdier than Libra in the sense that it does not take time to balance things. It just simply chooses itself. It knows its worth. And it very much loves feeling homey. So if that's something that can't be acquired, you might feel this turbulence emotionally more than usual. This energy, like I said on my blog, could have you really feeling the need to, maybe I thought about composting this week. Like things that have to do with, ecosystem and ecology and environmental health, recycling more, cheapening your waste when you buy groceries, right? Cooking more, or, cooking no waste products like fresh vegetables without the plastic. And, again, there's something about really, even shifting your diet for some of you guys, making your home more cozy and really diving into those feminine creature comforts, like creativity and whatever creative energies and essences really reignite your sense of femininity and feeling safe. Stepping into that energy is going to reveal more and more and more what is not aligned in your reality, and that juxtaposition is going to be the revealing of the truth, but also the most challenging to bridge, because maybe there is something here that you were trying to avoid in a connection that you are now having to face and stomach and choose. Okay, something's not right here. I need to make a move. What am I going to do? So towards the end of the week, we have the Hermit card. It's a Virgo card. It makes a lot of sense considering we have an eclipse on Thursday, a partial lunar eclipse in Virgo, a full moon. So massive release. So sitting with what feels off throughout the beginning of the week, rather than diving in, fighting, or aggressively, going back and forth with this energy while the energy is a little chaotic, is going to serve you well come the full moon on Thursday, because you'll be able to sit with what you have processed or taken in, and kind of decide which way you want to go next. regardless, towards the end of the week, we have a Four of Pentacles and a Death card. So it does feel like there is going to be something that ends in order to protect your foundation. Whatever it is I feel like a choice that you're going to make for many of you guys, but also it could be a shift in just your perception, in your mindset, in daily habits, in the way that you interact online, social media, how much you take on or how much you allow yourself to be involved in certain energies. Realizing where your breath is being wasted and where it's actually part of your creation and what you are meant to be doing and what is aligned with you. So again, the beginning of the week, we start with a Leo moon. We have the Strength card with the Seven of Swords coming out. So again, this being a Leo card about bravery and courage, and she's covering the lion's roar, right? So if there's this desire to roar, again, you're going to gain more by sitting back and observing it. Asking yourself what the Seven of Swords energy is, because even as I point to this card, I feel blockages in the sacral and pressure on the chest. So an energy that is pressing on you in a threatening way. That also this can also be seen as the ascended heart chakra, but I don't feel it as. I feel it up here, like a pressure externally that, most witches would say there's a spirit present. There's an evil spirit present. If you feel that, there is something threatening in the energy field if you feel that. And then again, in the sacral, you might start to see something. Again, if you are in a marriage, if you're in a relationship, if you live with someone, you might start to see a side of them that you start to feel unsafe, right? If you're in a living situation where a roommate or something, again, there could be something here that you start to recognize something's unsafe. Taurus, the home, again, this is a possibility for some of you guys, but obviously not everyone. Now, again, where do you make your home? For some of you guys, this could be your work. You might work more than you're at home. Take that as that resonates. And again, there's some kind of victory here. If you are victorious during a time like this, especially if you're doing something rebellious, I guarantee you it's going to come with some harsh energy thrown back at you, right? So that is where, again, sit back. What is being thrown at you? Is it worth fighting? Or is it worth shutting the door and letting it run out its own battery? My dog's barking. I feel the pressure in my solar plexus coming back. Do you see? So again, trust that everything is, that you are safe. Everything is going to work out well for you. You and your loved ones are safe. There's nothing to fear. This feels like whatever feels unsafe is something that needs to be dealt with more on an emotional level than anything else, like the inner child. Birth confirmation. Something in the inner child is disturbed here. Sometimes we don't see this in a relationship either. We think we've handled our codependency. We feel like we've handled our inner child issues. But what happens, I think that the fear of isolation, the fear of being single or independent in a time like this is going to reroot those inner child wounds for some people. So again, give yourself grace and space to not only, process what's happening, but then decide what move you want to make next. And base it on the long term. I think that's the biggest guidance here, is base it on the long term. Now, we do have Libra cards surrounding this Cancer. A win-win outcome is forecast and a new romantic cycle begins. So it does give me the sense that there is going to be some games being played around some of you, especially if this is dealing with a romantic relationship. Now, I'm not saying in all cases this is bad, because again, we do have a masculine collective going through an awakening. Some of these masculines are going to come out victorious as well. Okay, they're going to grow. They're going to self-actualize in a new level. They're going to come out a new person on a much stronger and much more capable of being a provider, a protector, in whatever way that is for you. So again, this isn't saying that, everybody in the masculine collective that is awakening is a problem or bad. I'm just saying be aware of this energy because it is kind of clapping back in a very intense way, and it is causing energetic chaos for everyone. On that note, it reminds me of this morning we had here in Arizona and in California, we had a mini earthquake, which it just feels like, again, macrocosm to microcosm. There's massive solar flares right now. There's massive energetic jolting. I described it as astral plunges for some of you guys who work in the astral plane, or your heart chakra is activating and you are on a spiritual journey. You're developing spiritual gifts. You're feeling more of these astral plunges, the emotions of other people, or disembodied energy sometimes as well. And you're being thrown into the perception of someone else. Beware of this because it can cause, it has potential to push you into psychosis to some extent, because those emotions might not be something you've ever felt before, or something that you haven't felt in a very long time. So just be careful with your emotions right now and how you assess them. Make sure you're giving yourself time, ample time, to process them and to really decide, what is and isn't yours, and how to create better boundaries if it's not. And if that's something you need help with, check out my website, link in bio, intuitivemindgeek.com, and I have coaching sessions, or I could teach you some very powerful techniques. I can help you through that process of shielding and protecting and grounding your energy. But regardless, it feels like this is going to be a really, this came through an ancestral message this week on my live as well. It's a very, very, very key message from the collective guides and ancestors and deities right now to really dive deeper into your own ancestral magic and medicine, as well as just any healing practices, period, because those practices are going to help protect your mental health and your physical health as well as we go through this, because as all of us know, your mental health is directly connected to your physical health. And if that starts to deteriorate because of the energy you're taking on from other people, so too can your physical health. So be mindful of that right now. Continue to stay grounded, because again, as I say that, I feel the throat going in and out, denoting that there is someone else's truth blocking yours. Shifting your alignment with your higher self. You lose connection with your higher self, you lose connection with the ground. You lose connection with the best choices to make, best next steps to take, right? So just be gentle with your body and your mind right now. Now, that being said, this is also, with the Taurus coming out, is the best move forward. This is not a call to stop, right? Keep moving. Again, Taurus being headstrong. Yes, Taurus in its shadow traits, Taurus in its darker traits or its misaligned traits can be a bit lazy and lethargic. But Taurus in its best self is headstrong, but grounded and kind of slow moving, right? It charges ahead, but steadily. So there is something here around definitely being in that feminine energy, being connected to the earth and moving forward consistently, but maybe not quickly. And that's totally fine. Find the pace that's right for you, but don't stop. Is really the guidance here. And I think that's the challenge, because there's like this masculine energy that wants to and stop you. Even when I typed that in on my computer went down for a second and completely blanked out what I said about what I just said to you, to not stop. So no, do you see? So anyway, we're going to put this up. I'm going to do a breakdown of the elementals for the week. And don't forget to check out my energy blog for the week as well for more details on the breakdown of what I just mentioned with the feminine and masculine collective awakenings. Take care, guys.